Hello everybody and welcome to Lights Up, the official podcast of the WNBL. I'm Grantley Bernard alongside Sharin Milner, and as we come into Christmas, boy, there were a few surprise presents under the tree last weekend, Shuz. The West Coast Waves won.
Yeah.
Townsville beat Bendigo.
Correct.
And then Sydney comes into Melbourne and knocks over Bulleen.
Yeah, it was all happening last round.
A lot of surprises, a lot of great basketball.
Yeah.
Talk us through what happened.
All right, well, as you say, it all kicked off on Friday night. It was a bit of a freaky Friday. All the underdogs getting up. Started off up in Townsville, where they beat the ladder leaders Bendigo Spirit in a pretty low scoring game. Tight one all the way, 56-52. Michaela Cox leading the way with 13 points, and a big three-pointer from Gabe Richards got the Spirit within two late. Then over in the West, we had the West Coast Waves breaking through for a win against the Canberra Capitals, 75-62. West Coast winning every quarter there and led by Lisa Walbutton with a huge double-double, 18 points and 15 boards. The Caps turnovers costing them dearly again there, 22 turnovers. Then down in Melbourne, as you said, Sydney Flames knocking off the Bulleen Boomers 79-75. Set up by a huge first quarter by Sydney, led by Katie Ray Ebsbury, 23 points, but all Sydney's big four scored. And from Bulleen's perspective, good to see Holly Florence with a double-double and their youngster Beck Allen leading their scoring. Then Sydney waltzed into Dandenong and didn't have quite as much luck. They went down 102-79. Jenna O'Hay just on absolute fire, 35 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. April Sykes leading Sydney scoring with 24 points. Bendigo's second game of their Sunshine Swing saw them beat Logan Thunder 69-61. Natalie Taylor leading the way for Logan with 21 points. Gabe Richards having 17 points and 14 boards, and Spirit just dominating the rebounds there. Over in Adelaide, they were without Batkovic and Marino and managed to beat the Canberra Capitals 70-52. Lightning were led by Nadine Payne, 17 points, and yeah, just compounding Canberra's woes with 2 games, 2 losses again. So the Caps are now on a 5-game losing streak, which is unheard of in the, I guess, the Jackson era, if you want to call it that, and they have really got some big problems. If we have a look at the ladder as it stands going into the last round before Christmas, Bendigo is still on top despite their loss at 12-2. Dandenong is just one win back at 11-3, followed by Adelaide at 9-4. Townsville has moved into the top 4 with that win over Bendigo at 7-6. Bulleen drops to 7-7. Canberra at 5-9. Logan at 4-9. Sydney at 4-10. And West Coast have picked up their 3rd win of the season at 3-12. As we said, a lot of talking points, but let's quickly just look at Canberra, as we have done. They're on a 5-game losing streak, as we said, unheard of in the Jackson era. And of course, we know they don't have Lauren Jackson right now, and I'm sure they wish they had 3 or 4 Lauren Jacksons. But they lose in Perth against the Waves, who, let's face it, aren't really setting things on fire this season. Then they go to Adelaide and they lose to Adelaide, who's without Batkovic and Marino. Yeah.
Can you explain this?
Well, it comes back to that dreaded word, turnovers, doesn't it? They just are so loose with the ball at the moment, so uncharacteristic of Canberra. They did manage to scrape some wins early in the season, which sees them still in that middle of the pack, but I'm very tempted to get the pen out GB and just cross a line through them for finals. They are not doing much for me at the moment,
you think
unfortunately.
The Caps are cooked?
I reckon they could be.
Well, it's interesting you talk about the turnovers. And in the game on Friday in Perth, West Coast only had 7 turnovers for the game, which is a fantastic effort. And West Coast also had 43 second chance points and points from turnovers. So out of second offensive rebounds and turnovers from 43 points against Canberra.
Yeah, they're kind of, I mean, I've been over to Perth and played a bit myself, and they just carry momentum. So if they get on a roll, I read Coach Kraft's comments after the game, and it sounded like one of those things where when their energy's up, really anything can happen, and it can be overwhelming for the opposition teams, and it just sounded like they were hungry for the basketball. They forced them into turnovers, they were all over the glass, and yeah, they got the win. So great for the crowd out there.
Now you were getting a bit happy about the Sydney Flames. You thought they might be a smoky for the playoffs. They come to Melbourne, they beat Bulleen, and were going okay against Dandenong and maybe ran out of some legs.
Yeah, we'll just keep the lid on that one still, GB, but I'm still quietly confident of them making a run. I mean, look, if you're going to challenge Dandenong to a shootout, you've got big problems, as they found out. They still managed 80 points themselves, but, you know, you just can't ever afford to get into a run and gun game with Dandenong, but they beat Bulleen and they're looking good. They've got to be in the top 3 form sides of the comp at the moment.
Well, the Rangers got over the top of them with a 37-24 final quarter, so the Rangers didn't, take the foot off the gas, did they? And Jenna O'Hay, 35 points, 6 boards, 6 assists. What a performance.
Yeah, what can you say about that girl? She's just an absolute purple patch, and that spells big danger for the rest of the league, because when Jenna O'Hay's in form, generally her team wins a championship. So I think teams will be looking to slow her down. I hope she gets a bit too much on her Christmas plate this Christmas and comes back a bit slower.
The other 2 teams that we need to touch on, Townsville Fire and Bendigo Spirit. Townsville beats Bendigo in Townsville, and it nudges them into the top 4. People have been asking us on the Facebook and the Twitter, can Townsville make the playoffs and will they have an impact? And probably a week ago we're saying, well, unlikely and probably not. But here they are, they're in the top 4 after they've beaten the championship favourite.
Yeah, I know, aren't we hot and cold with Townsville? We're just getting stitched up every week, writing them off, then putting them back in. I think they've shown with their current form, they're definitely a contender. For me, I think they would just need that home final if they're going to do any damage in the postseason. But great organisation, love the way they run up there. A couple of seasons ago, they were in real trouble and, got a board together, got themselves back on track. Great venue, and I really would love to see them do well. And at the moment, all signs are looking good.
There you go, Townsville Fire. So Townsville Fire looking good. Sydney Flames might yet make a playoff run. You probably want the Bulleen Boomers in there.
Yeah.
So we need to expand the 4 to about a 7 for you. Can we get that done over Christmas?
Oh look, we'll put a petition together for a 8-team finals race. Sounds good to me.
See what we can get done with that over Christmas. If you want to know how the standings are looking and all the information about the WNBL, go to the WNBL website, wnbl.com.au. You can follow the league on Facebook and also on Twitter. The account is at WNBL. And of course, we've got at Sharin Milner 4 and our other co-host, Desi Globitz 6. Get to them on Twitter and keep them occupied over the Christmas break. Of course, we go into Christmas with 1 round to go this week, so we'll be back with a couple more instalments of Lights Up. But before we do, Shaz, we've got to acknowledge our sponsors.
We do, GB.
And it all starts with IINet.
And Champion.
ABC.
The Australian Sports Commission.
Sporting Pulse.
Spalding.
And ANFA. That's it. We've only got 2 more shows until we can call it quits for Christmas. So join us again later this week on Lights Up.